So last night on AEW Dynamite, we saw the 2021 version of Mike Awesome versus Spike Dudley, and to be honest with you, I need to see more because Brian is his name. Darby Allin doesn't really feel any pain. But I don't know if it was just me watching last night's Dynamite, but on more than one occasion, I was left scratching my head and going, really? That's what we're doing here right now? And that's not even including, by the way the Britt Baker segment was pieced together. Thunder Rosa, she came from out of absolutely nowhere, didn't she? What was going on there? But hey ho, even though there wasn't too much to pick from, it is Thursday, so you know what that means. It's time to go through all of the AEW WTF moments from last night's Dynamite. Hit the intro man. Now, I don't know if it was just my completely legal Fight TV stream for last night's Dynamite, because the last time I mentioned this on a WTF Moments video for AEW Dynamite, there was comments saying, Ross, it was fine for me, stop talking such pish, you bastard. But the fake crowd noise that was piped on top of last night's Dynamite, I could barely hear the commentators speak at numerous points during the night. Again, it might have been just me, and if it was, I'm very sorry. Now, there's obviously got to be a reason why AEW feel the need to pipe in this fake crowd noise when AEW Dynamite is not completely and utterly live, but it just makes you wonder, when the show is live, the crowd can be heard very much loud and clear, so much so it sounds like there's a lot more of them inside of Daly's place, so why do they do it? But based off that picture there, which almost melted the Twitter machine earlier this week when Lance Archer appeared on this week's Dynamite and had that much hair, it's got to be a WTF moment, hasn't it? He worked us, the bastard. So Pac and Archer, they hate Kingston. Pac tortures Kingston moments after Pac beats Kingston. Then there's a standoff, and Archer, he comes out with all of that hair. But then, despite the fact that Pac had done a lot of things that Archer, with his hatred for Kingston fresh in the mind, would have liked, they have a standoff, and Archer shouts at Pac, hey, we better be on the same page now, Pac, or else, you little bastard. And I was thinking, you are on the same page, aren't you, lads? Or is Archer the only person allowed to beat up Eddie Kingston inside of Archer's head? I don't know about you at all once again, but watching that little standoff there, my face, it looked like that. So then we learned that next week on Dynamite there's going to be a three-way tag team match to determine who is the official tag team of the Inner Circle. It's going to be Chris Jericho and MJF against Proud and Powerful against Jake Hager and Wardlow. No, it's not, Ross, you WTF slut. Oh, sorry, my mistake. It's going to be Sammy and Hager, so we can say Sammy Hager on AEW Dynamite and pop the dads. Go on, the dads. That's right, everybody. I'm struggling for WTF moments so much this week, I'm taking issue with the partnership of Sammy Hager. And that's because in my mind, after the months of sex eyes they've made at each other just like this, I hope the camera is zoomed in on me to give it the full effect. You're turned on now, aren't you? And after their big old meaty match last week, surely there's more of a connection between Wardlow and Jake Hager than there is between Sammy Hager. And surely, and this is just me spouting bollocks from my useless mouth, surely there's more of a story and Sammy Guevara not only being cast aside by the sex god's partner himself, Le Champion Chris Jericho, but also being the forgotten man of the Inner Circle as a whole. But then again, who am I to pick these issues other than a WTF slut? So we break the internet last week, and maybe, just maybe, with some new eyes watching AEW Dynamite for the first time, tuning in to see where this new thing is going to go, we take two bits of that new thing and we completely shaft them and cast them to one side. And that's of course because we saw the Young Bucks ready to tag team and do the tag team wrestling with Kenny Omega before Don Callis gets on the microphone. He says, here comes Kenny Omega's two best pals in the entire world, the Good Brothers. I mean, I guess we'll just have to sit back and wait to see where this one goes. But at this moment in last night's show, the Young Bucks name, it had to be completely forgotten, everybody, and replaced with the Young Cooks. That's if, of course, they stood for this bollocks. Completely shafted. 1 week in, I didn't see that coming, therefore WTF. But then we did see the newly christened Young Cooks, who came out, by the way, to stop Jon Moxley getting at the New Elite. And it turns out they are cooks. There's no other word for it, man. You've just been shafted by Kenny Omega and Don Callis, made it look like a pair of massive tools. Jon Moxley comes out there and he wants to beat up the man and his pal, I guess, who have just made you look like a pair of tools, and you stop him. It's amazing. What's going on here, young cucks? And by the way, while we are here, I'm very happy to see the Lucha Bros hoof the young cucks upside the head because, quite frankly, they deserved it. And then we have a professional wrestling heel appearing on last night's Dynamite, trying to get some of that Heatington on their really heel arse. I know the wrestling me. By laughing along and saying, no Brandi Rhodes for 9 long months here on Dynamite. No Brandi Rhodes whatsoever. Ha ha! Isn't that a shame, dear viewer? And I was just thinking to myself, first and foremost, it's important to say, I like Brandi Rhodes. She cuts a good promo. You cannot deny that. But simply based off the way she has been used on AEW Dynamite since the show started a very long time ago, her not being there for 9 months, is that a bad thing? But in this moment, we also learned another WTF moment, with that WTF moment being that Shaq is still very much a thing when it comes to Cody Rhodes in AEW, who, by the way, looked like he had moved on from Jade and Shaq just before Christmas, flirting with Sting, of course, while Sting was treating him like he was his idiot little brother. But now when it comes to Sting, and to Cody, and to Shaq, and to Jade, and to Brandi, and to Red Velvet, and to Dr. Britt Baker, and to Reba, and to Thunder Rosa, we're doing all kinds of this action here. It's intertwining, and I don't know where we're going. Sit back and watch, Ross, you titter, yeah.
It's Jim Ross, bitch.
Bah, Gouda did it again.
Or was it the Dapper Yapper dropping a bit of a clanger? That didn't work at all, did it? And I know this kind of thing doesn't matter in the slightest, but if I didn't bring it up, you'd be sat there calling me an AEW shill. So I don't want that. So here we go. What is it, AEW? Is Brian Cage weighing the 280 pounds that Jim Ross claimed, or the 272 pounds that the Dapper Yapper Justin Roberts claimed? It cannot be both, can it? Unless, of course, maybe the 280 pounds is Brian Cage's in-box weight, and the 272 pounds is the Brian Cage out-the-box weight. Since, of course, he is a massive machine who came in a box. And what the hell is it going to take for Team Taz to attack Sting? It should have happened way before last night's Dynamite, but then we flick on last night's Dynamite and we see Sting scupper the plans, the well laid out tactics of Team Taz, and in turn he cost Brian Cage the TNT title. But despite that happening, and despite Sting probably just being a massive annoying prick in the eyes of Team Taz, they still do absolutely nothing. And I'm fully convinced at this point it's going to take Sting murdering one of Team Taz with his bat for the rest of Team Taz to lift a bastard finger. What the hell are they waiting for?
It's Jim Ross, bitch.
Bah, Gouda did it again.
And now we have a direct quote from Jim Ross when he said Taz has assembled a powerful and dangerous group. And I was thinking, are you sure, Jim? I mean, they sure look like one, and they should actually be one. They really should be. But simply based off what we've seen over the past couple of months on Dynamite, and with last night in mind specifically, they really are not. They just appear to be, and I'm sorry it's come to this, everybody. I'm going to use some really strong language here to describe Team Taz after Jim Ross claimed they are both powerful and dangerous. After what we've seen from Team Taz in recent times on Dynamite, and with last night's performance in mind specifically, Team Taz, they're just a bunch of really dumb, scaredy cats. I'm sorry, everybody. But just before that main event match on last night's Dynamite, we saw that thing there, and that thing there apparently was up next. But after watching the remainder of the show, up next, it didn't happen at all. So where was it? I hope they're all okay. And I tell you what, just before I go, it's weird not to make every single bump Darby Allin took during that main event a WTF moment. But I was sat there thinking, well, this is Darby Allin we're speaking about, and he likes the pain and the flying around and the car crashes and all that kind of stuff. He loves it, doesn't he? And the guy's throwing him around like a gothic tennis ball. It's Brian Cage, and he's big and he's muscular. Some even call him a machine. So of course he's going to do that. So Darby taking all that, and Brian doing all that too, Darby? I guess it's normal, isn't it? Normal behaviour for those two. But that's it for your WTF moments from last night's Dynamite, a show that really hammered home the fact that it's episodic and it's weekly, and we need to tune in next week to see what happens after what happened on last night's show. That makes sense, doesn't it? I think it does. But I have been Ross Twaddell. You have been lovely. Thank you for watching. See you later.